and welcome to another video. I know I've been away for for a month or so, but I had finals and everything, and so I'm back, and today I bring you my June book haul. I'm calling it the June book haul, but to be honest, we are midway through June. I don't suppose I'm gonna buy any more books, and these books were bought also in May. So I'm just calling it June book haul because it's the video that's going up in June with the book haul. After finals, I'm on summer holidays now, I went to Brazil to visit the people and also for some bureaucratic stuff. So I visit my friends, and obviously I also visited the bookstore. And I bought 3 books there. One of them is Frankenstein by Mary Shelley in this beautiful Penguin English Library edition. I had Victorian literature last semester and I loved it. I did well, and I also really enjoyed the class. So, and everyone was always talking about Frankenstein, which they were supposed to have studied in romantic literature, which I think they didn't get to, which made everyone sad. So I bought Frankenstein by Mary Shelley in this beautiful edition. Also, I bought Dracula by Bram Stoker. I already own a copy, as you probably know, and because I studied that copy, which is this one. But she had an accident, yeah, so she's all marked, but she has coffee stains and everything. So even though I will treasure this edition just for the look at it. And I saw this in Brazil and I bought it, and it's beautiful edition again by English Library. It's a shame they don't do the super matte covers. They still all match, and I still like these editions. And because my mom did a cover for them, everyone fits there, so I can preserve them more efficiently. And yeah, so I bought Dracula again because I want to treasure it, and also because I want to buy British classics in this edition, and that edition was just to study. While in Brazil, I read Me Before You by Jojo Moyes in anticipation for the movie, which I have no idea when it's going to premiere in Portugal actually, but I read it in 3 days. My heart, I'm sobbing, yeah. So because I had a Brazilian edition of that book, I thought maybe I can buy the Brazilian edition of the sequel, which is Me After You, or After You, I don't know in English. And this is the sequel to Me Before You by Jojo Moyes. Again, the cover matches with the first one, and it's I'm really curious to see how the story goes. I saw this cover was cheap, and I thought let's buy it in Brazilian, even though I actually don't like Brazilian translations, but it's okay, right? Because it matches the first one. So after Brazil, I was back home for 2-3 days, and I went to the Lisbon Book Fair, as always. This year we don't have vlogs, but we do have a book haul. At the Lisbon Book Fair, I obviously spent all my money, obviously. So I bought 6 books. I'm going to show you to you them now, but most of them are Portuguese, except 2. And one of them is one that I'm currently reading, which is Persepolis by Marjane Satrapi. The struggle to say this name correctly. Everyone has heard about this. It's a book, a comic book, a graphic novel, sorry. It's a graphic novel about the history of this author when she was a child and a young teenager in Iran. And I'm really, it's been really interesting so far. I've read the first half of it already, and I'm really enjoying it. The cover, I love this cover. It's really beautiful. I love the colors, even though the comics inside are black and white. Then I bought One Saramago, and I bought the one that all my friends loved it, even though I haven't read it yet, which is Blindness, or in Portuguese Ensaio sobre a Cegueira, in these new yellow covers. They have adapted this book to a movie with Mark Ruffalo and I think Julianne Moore. I haven't seen it, but I really wanted to read this one. A lot of people really love it. I don't know the story. I just kind of feel like in this city people start going blind, but they will see white, not black, and then there's only 1 or 2 they actually can see. and so everything goes mayhem. I bought a new one. This was totally impulse buy. It's the new book by Maria João Lobo de Carvalho, and it's Até que o Amor Me Mate, for you Portuguese watchers out there. This is an historical novel based loosely on the life of Camões, I imagine, and about his muses, or about probably the loves of his life. I don't expect it to be very historically accurate, even though it's gigantic and it has pictures and all, but the literary critics believe that the muses are just figurative images. They are fictional, they're not real, even though he's seen and acknowledged as a man who, you know, had a very bohemian life, loved a lot of women, and etc. So this book is around the 7 women that he loved, or that crossed his life. It's very big. I have 2 other books by her. I haven't read any of them. They're all gigantic. I'm just waiting for me to get old and get the time to read them. Yeah, but if you talk about Camões and love, you know, romantic interests for him, you get me, because I really like Camões. It's a problem. The next is also Portuguese. It's about love stories in the monarchy or in the royalty, by Jill Paul, and it's not about Portugal. It's about the world, actually. It has some Portuguese stories as well, but it's mostly about the entire world. Actually, there's only one Portuguese couple, so you know this is not Portuguese. It's actually not at all. It's English originally. So you see. So you may find this with the title of Royal Love Stories. See, that's the translation. Royal Love Stories, and they are editing here in Portuguese, obviously, and I couldn't help myself because I really like to read the love stories of kings. I'm very obsessed with sneaking into their private lives, because I believe kings actually made choices. They made decisions, right? They were call makers. They did stuff, and their decisions were determined or consequences, or were caused by personal motives as well as political motives, professional motives. And so I really like to see their private life. Shame on me. The other 2 I bought you also recognize, but they are in the Portuguese editions. The next one is The Golden Sun by Pierce Brown, the most beautiful YA author ever. Yes, we all know him. This is a sequel to The Red Rising, which I bought last year at the Lisbon Book Fair. And so I thought, well, I'm gonna buy the second one there as well. And the last one was one that I was looking for years. I never managed to find it in any bookstore, any. I know online I could find it, but I don't really like to buy online. It's always complicated. I don't know why. Maybe it's because the post never delivers the things when they are supposed to. But basically, I found it. And you've heard about it. It's Burial Rites by Anna Kent, or Últimos Ritos for us, Portuguese translations. And it's about the story of the last woman to be convicted to death in Iceland in 1829. It's in Iceland, which is, you know, one of a kind. There's not a lot of fiction books set in Iceland, and also not in the 19th century as well. So I'm really interested in this. This final bit of book haul is going to be a little bit different, because I've been in England for the last week. So I was there from the 8th to the 13th of June, and on holidays with my parents in Manchester and Yorkshire. But basically, I went to museums and manor houses and beautiful houses. Guys, I went to the Darcy House. I went to Chatsworth. I'm so emotional. So yeah, I brought souvenirs, and a lot of the souvenirs I bought were books, because why not? So the first 2 I got at the People's History Museum in Manchester, which, if you don't study British culture in the Victorian ages or modern times, or if you're just interested in social movements, you should really check it out. It's really interesting. It's a lot of information, but in a very fun, interactive way. Yeah, so they had a whole section of souvenirs about the feminist and the suffragist movement, and I went slightly crazy. So first I bought the women's suffrage movement. It's like the history of a movement, which for me is really interesting. I really, really love feminist movements and the suffragettes. Before the movie as well, but now I'm even more fascinated. And yeah, I'm just really interested because, you know, suffragism. It's really interesting. I really, really love it. And I also found a book that I actually own. This is a shame. Don't tell my parents, but I actually own it in a free edition on Kindle because it's on public domain as well. But I saw the book in actual book form, and she was mentioned during the exhibition in the museum. So I thought this is the perfect place to buy this book, and it's the book edition of The Vindication of the Rights of Women by Mary Wollstonecraft, presented by Sheila Robotham. And yeah, Mary Wollstonecraft is my bae. If you don't know, I probably don't know because I disappeared from YouTube after that. I organized a debate about this document, about the Vindication of the Rights of Women, and Mary Wollstonecraft as the first feminist, or one of the first feminists. And we all agree that she was, yes, one of the first feminists. And I read the beginning, I read, you know, the introduction, which kind of explains everything, and then she goes further in detail in the rest of the book. And I didn't know it was this big. I'm really, really interested. I really want to read it. I'm in love with Mary Wollstonecraft. Basically, she's the mother of Mary Shelley. So both of them had very interesting lives. Yeah, so I bought the book edition. After that, I went to Chatsworth. Did I mention? I went to Chatsworth. So I bought books there. Yes, I did buy books there. The first one is the guidebook there. I just wanted to show you because this is Chatsworth. I was not lying. I was at Darcy's house. There's photos. I can put them right here. Yeah, those were my reactions to seeing Darcy. Basically, this is his house and this is the interior. Everything very well explained and in a lot of detail. Actual books. I bought Longbourn by Joe Baker. I've seen this book around for a long time. I think it's like the Pride and Prejudice story, but from the perspective of the servants, and we like the servants have a story within them as well. So they are the Longbourn servants, and this is a signed copy, and also I bought it at Chatsworth. And also a very interesting, small, little, funny book. It's the Jane Austen TV and Film Locations Guide. Now I can stalk all of the houses, not just the Pride and Prejudice ones. Look at me. In the cover we have Anne Hathaway and James McAvoy because... yes. And lastly, I bought another guidebook from a house. I went to Castle Howard near York, and this was actually the Brideshead, I don't know how you say it, Brideshead Castle for Brideshead Revisited, and I have to watch that, I really do. But yeah, this house was actually really beautiful as well. I also went to the Jane Eyre house, actually, the Thornfield Hall. Pictures please. Yes, it was beautiful, it was magnificent, and it was in the same day, so I was ecstatic. But yeah, I went to Mr. Rochester's house and Mr. Darcy's house in the same day. And lastly but not least, I bought 2 books at the airport. I know, right? And those books were We Were Liars by He Lockhart and Everything Everything by Nicola Young. This book has been out for a while and I was really curious, and it's really small and it was really cheap. So I thought I'm gonna buy it and read it this summer, which they advise to read it in summer. I think it's a very summery book, so yeah, I'm gonna read this summer. And also Everything Everything, which I've been meaning to read since it came out, because I think it's gonna be beautiful. So yeah, I got it as well. Those were all the books I bought in the last couple of weeks, month. I hope you enjoyed this video. I'm really sorry I was absent, but you know, finals, you have to get through them, and I hope you enjoy your summer. I'm clearly enjoying mine. And I'm gonna read all these books. Not all of these, but a lot of books. I hope you enjoyed it. All my media stuff is down below. You can check it out too if you want to. Subscribe if you enjoyed this video, or give it a thumbs up. And I will see you soon in the next one. Bye!